Thank you guys so much for coming.
For having us. Very exciting to be at the Alamo Drafthouse.
Yeah.
This is a real.
We had some drafts.
Yeah.
Excellent.
It's a real thrill, though. This place is definitely a mecca, so it's a real honor to be here and have this screen for you guys here.
Well, I was going to say, they were the first people to sort of see. Is this the first time you've seen it with like a non-exec audience?
Yeah. Something I haven't seen without my wife sitting next to me watching it like on our computer. Yeah.
I mean, what was it like? What was the experience? Was it nice to hear people responding to the jokes you responded to and the characters you responded to?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is why we do it, for an audience. So to hear you guys laugh and respond, and that's why you do this, for an audience.
I have theater training.
I mean, my wife was a great audience, I'm not going to lie. So you had a high bar to clear, but you guys were awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Jarrad and Andrew, I'm going to start with you. What was sort of the genesis of this show? Had you been talking with Rob and or Fred about a series, or did you come to one of them with this idea? How did it all come together?
Yeah, no, we kind of, can you hear me? We found the actors after we had written it. The idea came from a place, kind of that fishing scene that was in the pilot, where the idea of, wouldn't you rather Noah Wyle be the guy next to you when you're having a heart attack than the average person, was kind of the genesis of the idea. We just think it's really funny that an actor plays a part for that long and then thinks they have the expertise to do it for real. I think that was where it started. And then Rob came in soon after. We wrote it, and then Rob was actually had another deal at another studio. We wrote it for Fox, and he somehow got it and liked it, and then it all started from there.
Had you always envisioned someone in Rob's role who had sort of like a lengthy career themselves, or could it have been, does that play into sort of like the joke of him being that guy as well?
We kind of we thought of it as Rob Lowe. We really did kind of think there's no one else that can do this but Rob Lowe, and he was doing something else, so we didn't think it was possible, and then they got him out of the deal, and they were able to make it work. But yeah, it was important to us that the actor playing this guy could be on the fake show,
right,
and also this show,
which is a small group of people that can.
Yeah,
absolutely. Fred, it had been quite a long time since you had done a series regular gig on a live action television show. You have an incredibly successful directing career that you've been doing for the last handful of years. What was it about The Grinder that made you say, like, I could go back to network television?
Yeah, honestly, it was not part of the plan at all, really. And so, Nick Stoller, who's an executive producer on the show, is a friend of mine. And he said, would you be interested in doing a show? I'm like, absolutely not. But he's like, but read this thing. I think it's really funny. And, mine and Nick's wives are friends, and so I feel like I should read it just because, if we get together as a couple.
You didn't want it to be awkward, yeah.
Yeah, sure. They never got back to me about that. My wife gets so mad. So, which I've totally done a million times before, but we just happen to be friends, so I wanted to read it. And it was really funny. I was like, oh, that's really funny, but I'm not that interested in going to do a show.
that wasn't it right there. You didn't read it. Done deal.
It was done. And he said, come meet he says, at least come meet everybody. It's like, all right, fine. So I came, and Nick was there, and I met Jake Kasdan, our director, and Melvin Marr, his partner, and I met Jarrad and Andy, and we just started talking about the show, and we started doing the scenes together, and kind of like Jarrad and I were improvising some scenes, and it just turned. It was really funny. It was really fun.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, that sounds like a good way to spend like a couple weeks with like a bunch of guys who seem really great, and a project that seems like a lot of fun. So it really just came out of the excitement of doing something that was kind of different and seemed like a lot of fun.
Did you and Rob know each other prior to this?
No, we did not know each other.
I mean, the chemistry is pretty outstanding from the jump, I have to say.
Yeah, and I didn't really meet him until we were both kind of on board the show. And so I think, I don't know. I mean, I think that just kind of, I think you guys kind of saw that before anyone else.
The chemistry?
Yeah.
It was hard to not see that. Yeah.
We lucked out with the cast, and these guys as well. But you guys worked together before. Fred had directed Sunny in Philadelphia, so they had this amazing chemistry going in, and yeah, he and Rob, we really kind of
Just all came together.
I don't know how you kind of know if they're gonna have chemistry, but yeah, it really worked out.
Mary Elizabeth, we were just talking, It's Always Sunny was an incredible performance from you. There's been great turns on New Girl and happy endings. I'm curious, what was it about this role that made you want to, try out, go out for it?
Yeah, I read the script and it was really, really funny. I actually was working on another project. I had a show that I had co-written with Artemis from It's Always Sunny, who's my best friend, and we were working on that. We were about to start pitching it. And then I was like, I don't know if I want to do a show. Am I doing my other show? And then they were like, just go meet these guys. So meeting you guys is what brings the people in, apparently.
Really? I mean, I feel
Yeah.
like that's the thing. You should, you could solve world hunger if you guys just took a meeting or something.
Just meet
No,
with
but
you.
I will say, to their credit, they compile the cast of people who had no interest in being on a television show. I swear, us, Rob, Bill, Devane, our dad, but it was just everyone responded to them and the script, and everyone believed in them and it. And I think, to their credit, they took people who really had no interest and made this great thing.
Which
It
was
was
probably
awesome.
great. While everyone was just relaxed and kind of I don't know. Everyone, it's nice. It's nice. I just feel like everyone kind of was had their own place in the show, and we all got along so well. The whole cast got along so well. The crew was great. It was a great experience, and I'm really happy I got to be part of it.
Absolutely. Oh, for you guys, what was it about both Fred and Mary Elizabeth that made them sort of perfect for these roles?
Want me to handle that? Do it.
But you feel free to add anything you want. You guys can both say what made it so perfect.
Well, starting with Fred. Fred's role was difficult to find the right person because Rob is such a force, and Rob's character is larger than life, and it's hard to have your own identity within that. And Fred just brings naturally this energy and his own strength to the character, which I think is important. So this guy's not a doormat, for Rob to just get trampled by. And then speaking of Mary Elizabeth, just so naturally funny and loose, and they're so good together. They're improv together, and it just felt like a real couple and not like a TV couple. And that's when we saw them together, we just were like, that's perfect.
Fred,
No, I agree with all of that.
Add to it a little.
What? No, I think you did it. You did it.
You can
I would say, if you wanted to expand on it at all.
If you wanna-
Yeah, could you expand on what made you guys great?
Here.
We're waiting. No. Fred, I'm curious, like I said before, you have spent the last handful of years directing, and I'm curious how you feel that experience has changed you as an actor.
I think it made it, at least for me, for this show, it just made it all a little less precious, I think. The fact that this was kind of just, as I was saying, something this seems like something fun to do for a great way to spend a couple weeks and a great group of people to spend it with. It wasn't, I feel like sometimes I've seen this both in front of and behind the camera, people can approach a pilot with such preciousness, you know what I mean? And
this is it. If it doesn't make it, then I'm done.
Yeah.
I'll never get to act again.
I'll tell actors sometimes, you're Lennying it, like mice and men, you just love it so much you just kill it, I'll tell that to actors, I'm totally, no one Lennyed it, you know what I mean? Everyone just was like, this is gonna be great. And I think that I've been around a ton of sets. I've worked on a ton of comedy, and that allowed me that everyone was very familiar. I was very familiar with Mary Elizabeth as a result of my directing, and I think that helped a lot. But I think that it just made it all, for me, just much less precious, and it just kind of felt like a free roll. It was just hey, let's go and have a fun time. And I think that kind of looseness and kind of carefree playfulness came through. I think that's one of the things, and I think all the actors came to it with some sense of that same, playfulness, that same sort of kind of carefree vibe, and I think that really came through.
Does it take a minute to sort of take the director's hat off and put the actor one back on once you're on a project like this? Was Jake Kasdan on the pilot like, if you don't stop directing your own scene, I'm gonna freak out?
No, it was a real pleasure.
He said that to me about Fred.
I knew it. I know.
No, honestly, people would say like, oh, was it hard to take off your directing hat? And like, directing's so stressful and kind of all-consuming. It was so nice to like be sitting there like, they're like, yeah, we're gonna have to push this scene tomorrow. I don't know if where this location is gonna be. I'm like, hey man, whatever you want. Like, I'll be here tomorrow. I'll be here the next day. Like, I knew my lines. I showed up on time. Like, I was good. It was very, very, very relaxing.
I love that. Jarrett and Andrew, for you guys, one of the things I love about the show, in addition to the actual real world of it, is the world of the grinder that we get to see in little snippets, you know, the show that Rob's character starred on. When you were coming up with that television show, was it sort of like, let's take every horrible legal cliche for a show we would never want to write and put it into this?
Yes. That's what it was. We love that stuff. That's like our favorite stuff. We love shooting that stuff. That we love finding those cliche moments that you've seen in, you know, legal procedurals and kind of, you know, folding them into this show.
Like we did a whole day. We shot a whole day of that 30 seconds in the beginning.
We didn't know how much we'd need.
Yeah, and we want it to be a part of the show. We want to, you know, keep doing it. So yeah, that's so much fun to do the fake show.
Part of me loves that there is, in a strange way, like a very on the nose, like screwing of Hollywood in the way that sort of Rob's character comes to this town. He's like, well, it's like, you think, like, does Patrick Dempsey walk around and be like, I can operate on real people. I did it for 12 years. Can you talk a little bit about sort of building that ego into the show, but having it come from a place of like genuine heart in a strange way?
You want this one? No, go ahead.
Patrick Dempsey removed my appendix about
See, I knew it, guys. I knew it.
Yeah, Rob's character is genuine about that, and like I said, that was kind of the genesis of the show for us, and that idea is so funny to us, and also somewhat true. You know, like I said, you do think if you spend 8 years doing that, you pick stuff up. And, you know, it comes from a genuine place for Rob's character that he does think he doesn't need law school. I mean, you did the show.
The legal precedent that Fred's character cites towards the end, is that real?
No.
Okay.
Wait, it's not? I told you it was, but it's not. No.
There was like a legal advisor on set. You got to get this right.
No, didn't we look that up and at least copy and paste it or something?
I don't think so. We had a legal advisor on set, and he was just like, just go. At this point, like we were really stretching that, I think.
It strikes me that is sort of what the show gets to be now, this great in-between of, you know, living in a reality where there's legal cases that are happening, but also not being like, if we don't get, you know, the subsection 4 or 5B right, then people are going to write us letters.
Yeah.
I mean, moving forward, sort of what does The Grinder look like as a weekly series?
This one's you.
Okay.
This one's you.
Well, we think it's this family show with this kind of sibling dynamic. But that also has this kind of comedic procedural element where this guy lives in this fake TV world and brings this fake drama to this mundane small town law firm. And so we find that really fun and interesting. Did that answer the question?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to open it up to audience questions in just a minute, but for the two actors,
You're on it though. You're first.
I'm coming right to you. I'm ready. For the two actors, I mean, sort of similar question. The promise of a pilot is very exciting, I think. You know, you're like, we can go anywhere from here. What excites both of you about what you can get to do through this show now?
I mean, I think the show, and one of the things that really attracted me to it is it kind of is this mashup of a bunch of genres. You know, it's a family comedy, it's a workplace comedy, there's a procedural element to it. So honestly, as I did when I first signed on, like I'm on board with Jarrett and Andy. Like I think wherever they take it, I think if it's all of those worlds one at a time, I kind of am on board with wherever they want to take it. I think.
Really? Can we hold you to that?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a room full of witnesses that he said
but seriously, honestly, like I mean, but you're right. Like signing on to a pilot it's kind of like this little kind of a little deal, like all right, well, this is great, but we could be doing this for however long. And I think that when you do sign on, I think I said it earlier. I said it again. Like I sign on because I love these guys, and I love how they write, and I'm kind of in for where they take us. I mean, I'd love to know what that's going to be, but yeah, I mean, the writers' room opens tomorrow, guys. These questions are very premature.
I have very specific ideas. We'll talk about it on the flight home.
No, but Meryl, for you, I mean, what excites you about what this show could be?
When we had our meeting, I was like, I want to make it very clear that I'm not interested in being like the TV wife who just goes like this for 4 years or whatever, And I feel like we found that in the pilot. My role in the pilot was to be very supportive of Fred's character, and we wanted to show that they have like a real relationship, Not where like the guy's always crazy and the girl's always like, let me do your laundry, because I don't know anyone's relationship that is like that, but that we just kind of like rib each other, and I like our relationship with our kids. It's imperfect, and I feel like that's something that we're all looking for to see our lives mirrored back to us in that way. So I'm excited for that.
Awesome. All right, well, I feel like there's definitely at least one question. Go ahead.
It was great seeing Bill Devane back again.
He's incredible.
The best.
So when does Jane Curtin show up?
A Crumbs fan.
That's a Crumbs reference?
It's a Crumbs. I mean,
Sorry.
Everyone picked up on that, right? Right? We all got the reference. Crumbs. No, Bill Devane, just for background, played my dad. I did a show years ago, like 10 years ago, on ABC called Crumbs, and Bill Devane played my dad, and Jane Curtin played my mom. Jane's on a show. Jane has a show this year. That's really funny.
Yes.
I don't know what it is. She's on a show.
Use your magical information devices that we all have in our purses and look that up. Yeah.
But it's so funny you say that, because that was why it kind of struck me as odd that you and Rob didn't know each other. I honestly felt like 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon was 6 Degrees of Fred Savage at
and
some
it seems
point.
right that we're brothers, right? It seems like that was only a matter of time for show business to catch up to what we were all thinking. But no, I mean, we did not know each other.
I mean, I believed you.
Okay.
You're lying. It would have been straight. Do we have another question? Yes, right here.
I thought the kids' scenes were really funny. Can you talk a bit about, do you have any plans on how you're going to use them in the future of the show?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
We want to use them.
They're great. Those two kids are great. I mean, the pilot, there's a lot of stuff we have to do, so it was hard to really develop that further. But they're both so funny, and they can improv. Both of them. There's a lot of opportunity for
And
them.
Rob kind of, again, inserting himself into their lives in this kind of grinder way, is fun to us. So yeah, we do. They're really great. They're really lucked out.
You mentioned that the children are good improvisers. How much, I mean, at least on the pilot moving forward, do you want that freedom to be a part of the DNA of the show?
Yeah, we love that part of the show. I mean, we were talking about earlier, we take care in writing these scenes, and we don't go in going, let's just figure it out. But at the same time, once you have that base, you can, find a lot of really cool stuff. And even from the kids, like I said, we did stuff in those scenes where they just riffed, and they were right in the zone, and they were really funny.
And these guys too, like that
Oh,
whole. Right?
I'm stuck talking in this octave. Yeah, we couldn't write something like that.
That would look ridiculous on paper. I would read that and be like, what is this? I don't understand this at all.
The forth between you guys was really, that they found that, and that was really fun.
Do you feel like you were talking before that, Fred and Mary Elizabeth, you had worked together previously. Did you feel, even in just that one episode, that history playing to your advantage when it came time to have those moments together?
Oh yeah.
Definitely. Well, I did a test for this pilot, and I don't know how much people know about like how you kind of put a show together, but these guys decide who they like, the director decides who he likes, and then you go into either a room like this big full of like executives, and you have to do the scene in front of them as if you're on television and not in front of a giant room. But luckily for Fox, you go into like a smaller room. There's probably like, what, eight or 10 people in there or whatever, and just kind of play around. But there's like 10 other actresses there that all are trying to get the same part as you. So it's like a really weird and kind of stressful, and you're friends with most of them because like it's kind of a small world. But this was a really great experience, and it was fun to just play around, and yeah, the history of having known each other definitely helps take the anxiety level way down.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes, right here.
You said the writer's room starts tomorrow, but what did you look for in putting that together? Like, what kind of backgrounds do you have coming into the show?
Of the other writers, you mean?
Yeah.
What did we look for? We looked for, just people that seemed like they got the show and that were funny and that could write in this tone. I mean, a few of the people.
You read their sample scripts and other work they've done. And then we did this other show a few years ago, and so we brought some people from that show to this. And
I think knowledge of crumbs was important.
yeah.
Yes.
Knowledge of
So you got a job, sir.
Yeah.
You'll be flying back.
Tomorrow morning.
June, LA.
Any questions? Well, Fred, I'm curious, everyone in this room is aware that you have had an incredibly long career in this industry. And I'm curious, we were talking earlier in the grandfathered panel about how much it's changed in the way actors have to promote their shows and how sort of bringing in all the different platforms, you have Netflix and you have streaming and you have online. I mean, I'm just curious, like, when you are getting ready to launch a new show, what is your take on sort of the landscape of the television industry as it is right now?
Well, as far as the promotion of it, I feel like I really like where it's gone because it's removed all the barriers between us and you guys, and that's who we're making the show for. So whether it's a festival or whether it's tweeting or whatever it is, I think more and more those barriers between the people who are making it and the people that they're making it for has gotten removed, and I love that. I mean, I feel like as a kid, you very, very rarely. There certainly wasn't this festival. There wasn't Comic-Con. There weren't all these things you could really interact with people who you were making the show for. Yeah. And I love that. And it's completely energizing. And it takes you out of like, your little bubble and you get to connect with your audience. I love that all that stuff has been removed.
I mean, it does strike me that it kind of affords actors a unique perspective also into what their fans want to see. I mean, you're giving them, it sort of works both ways. If you say, like, I want to talk to you, it's also like, well, I also understand that you can then talk at me and sort of let me know what you feel. I mean, when you sort of talk to fans now, I mean, what is sort of the response you get from people both to this show and just in general?
I mean, they just want to see me like with my shirt off more, probably. I think.
Guys, you're taking notes.
I get
right?
that a lot.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Message received. No, it's everything. I mean, it's everything. I mean, I feel like getting approached on the street like that's always been there. You know what I mean? So the interaction with fans in that respect has been pretty consistent, but it's everything else. Like that was kind of the only time you got to interact with anybody. And I really like that, and so now, you kind of can do that on multiple platforms and multiple locations and a lot of different venues afford that connection with the audience. And for me, that's key. That's everything. That's why you do it.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming here today and speaking to this audience.
Thank you.
Don't forget,
Thank
Brian
you.
Garris coming to Fox this fall, and enjoy the rest of your final day of the festival.
Thank you for coming, guys.
Yeah,
This
thanks
is
a lot, everybody.
real pleasure.